Hi everyone. So today's painting, we're going to do a real kind of beachy, colorful sunset. So for my paint, we're going to use magenta. The purple is dioxazine purple. Then I have a light blue permanent, and then I have nickel azo yellow. I'm also going to add in titanium white and Mars black. That will be about it for the colors for this one. So basically you're going to be using, I'm using like a yellow, a light blue, a purple, and a dark pink or magenta. Again, if you don't have those colors, you can use whatever you have available. If you don't have the exact thing, it'll still work. It's fine. Alrighty, and for our brushes, I'm just going to get my black out here. For our brushes, we're going to be using a 1-inch flat brush, a 1/2-inch flat, and a 1/4-inch flat brush, and possibly a number 2 or number 3 liner. So that's all you basically need. And you're gonna want, I have a 16 by 20 canvas, and I just use an old towel to wipe my brushes in, and when I'm done with it, I just throw it in the washer. So to start, we're going to start at the top of our canvas and work our way down. I'm going to start with my dark purple paint first, and I've wet my brush a little bit. And I'm just going to start painting straight across the top of my canvas in this kind of deep jewel tone purple. And you'll notice when you're painting, it gets kind of messy. So if you get paint on your hands, it's okay. So this kind of a deep purple color. I'm gonna also touch a little white just on the edge of your white. Don't dip your brush right in the center, just on the edge, and just start adding a little white as well. Do a few dips in your cup of water to help everything blend and smooth out. And we'll bring that down a couple inches. So that's my purple, and I've added a little white to that now. I'm going to give my brush a little rinse. It doesn't have to come perfectly clean. I'm just going to get some of that purple out. I'm going to touch in my magenta this time, and a little white. And we're going to start adding some of that magenta to our sky. So like I said, this is going to be a very colorful painting. Notice you don't see a hard line where purple stops and pink starts. You want to blend that so that you don't kind of get that stripy flag look. So a little magenta and white blending together. Dip your brush in your water every now and then. And now I'm going to touch in a little of my yellow with white too. And we're just gonna start changing to yellow. I didn't rinse my brush after my pink when I changed to yellow. I want it to kind of blend together. So now we're getting that kind of sunset look to our sky. So it's my white and my yellow. And if you don't have this particular color yellow, like I said, any color yellow will be okay. And I'm going to bring this about halfway. So I know that's about halfway down my canvas. We're going to have a little piece of land coming across on our horizon. So that's about where that's going to go. But I'm going to continue with my yellow. I'm just leaving a really kind of small white line there. And we're going to transition from yellow back to pink now. So when they blend together, your magenta and your yellow, it kind of turns a little orangey. And at this point, I am going to rinse my brush. I want to kind of get that bit of orange out because I want to turn into pink again. So I'm going to go back to my palette, into my magenta, a little bit of white with it. Still using my 1-inch brush. And when I start a new color, I go right over where I ended with the previous color, because that helps us kind of blend together. See how we get that gradual transition from yellow to kind of a peachy orange and then to our magenta pink color. I love these colors. As you move down, use more magenta and less white to help it kind of deepen a little bit. And then we're going to get into a little bit of that purple from up top. Didn't rinse my brush, still had the pink in it. I just want to get a little bit of that purple down here now. And guys, I know you may not blend as fast as I do, so just go ahead and pause the video wherever you need to. Blend your colors. Don't overwork your canvas though. That's one thing. If you brush and brush and brush and brush and brush and brush, you're gonna blend everything so much that you're not gonna keep these vibrant colors. So kind of resist the urge. I am gonna leave a little space on the bottom of my canvas, maybe 1.5 inches or so. You don't need to necessarily measure. Now, the fun part, we're gonna layer on more color and give a real kind of vibrant look to our sky and to our water. So we're gonna use the colors on our plate, plus we're gonna use a little bit of this light blue. If you don't have that color blue, just mix a little blue and white together. So I just want to pull a little bit of that blue right across our sky. I'm not going to put much of the blue down on the yellow because it'll turn it green, and I'm not really going for green. So I'm going to keep it up on top of our pinks and purples. Just a little touch. And I'll do the same thing down here as I did up there, staying away from my yellows, but I'll do a little bit of that blue, just lightly pulling it across some of my pink and purple. That looks nice. You don't need too much. And there we go. Over the yellow, so I'm rinsing my brush. It's the 1/2 inch brush again. I'm gonna add a little white over my yellow now. So just dipping in my white, and I'm gonna kind of do the same technique we did for our blue, but I'm just gonna do white over that yellow. If your yellow underneath isn't quite dry, it's okay. You'll just make a light yellow there. It'll just kind of mix together. And that's good. So we kind of get that hazy look to our sky, and do it over this part too. I'm going to touch a little more in my yellow as well. So now I have a little bit of that yellow on my brush. Let's just come down a little with that too. Yellow and white on our brush. Oh, it's looking pretty. So that is basically our sky and our water. Now we're going to add in some black silhouette detail. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a little piece of land far away in the distance. So I've rinsed my 1/2 inch brush again, and this time we're going to go in just our black paint. Give yourself a little dip in your water to thin your paint out a little bit if your paint is extremely thick. And we're going to find our piece of land. You're going to try to keep it somewhat straight. So imagine you're on a beach and you're looking across at the land on the other side. Far off in the distance. Then we're going to add land to our foreground, and that's right down on the bottom. And this is what's closest to us, so it's going to be bigger. And I'll just give kind of an outline of where we're going to go, and then we'll fill everything under that line in solid black. So everything under the line was solid black. If you're not comfortable just kind of freehanding that, You can use a pencil to draw your line in first and then fill it in. That's completely up to you. Make sure your canvas is dry. So before you go to, if you're going to use a pencil, give it a little blast with a hair dryer first if you can. And that'll make sure your background is nice and dry, and then you can start adding your detail. So now I'm going to add a little fence, I think. I think I'm going to do a little fence here. Maybe a little rickety old fence that's kind of falling down. So I'm going to switch to my 1/4 inch flat brush. So for my fence, I'm going to use the width of my brush as the width of my fence post. And I'm going to make it kind of an old, rickety, falling down fence. And it's going to be pretty big because it's in the foreground. So I'm going to do one here. See how I'm using the width of my brush for the width of the fence posts. And now we got to connect them up a little bit. So then I'll just turn my brush the other way, black paint, and do your little, maybe one's fell down. There we go. So it's an old rickety fence, kind of falling down. I'm going to wet my 1/4 inch brush and make a little puddle of paint, of black paint, a little bit thinner. So now I'm going to just add some little kind of grass detail. Just filling in kind of beach grass type thing there. Do a few longer ones. Do a few coming from this side too. And you can look back at your fence now and just see if you need to kind of go over your fence posts again. You can. Make sure they're nice and black. This is a really nice beginner-friendly painting that is totally adaptable if you wanted to change up the colors. It can be basically any color you want. We're just going to put a couple little birds now in our sky, some seagulls, just to give our sky a little interest up here. So I've used my number two liner, just a little small liner, and just some kind of watered down black paint. And I'm gonna do some little seagulls. I start in the center and I flick out. And I'll do one here a little smaller. And maybe one. That's that. If you want to take your little small liner and go back to your grass again, you can. And just fill in anywhere you want. This is your painting. You can add as much grass detail as you feel like. It also will look nice without, if you're not quite to the point where you want to do those real tiny lines yet. You can practice them. And there we go. That's our beach sunset painting. Thanks, guys. See you next time.